The rise of the Persian Gulf is reshaping the world. If you were surprised by Saudi Arabia's de facto takeover of professional golf, get ready for many more such announcements in the months and years to come. The rise of the Persian Gulf, and Saudi Arabia in particular, is already reshaping the Middle East. But it will also have powerful consequences across the world. A quick quiz: what was the world's fastest growing large economy last year? If you guessed India or China, or any of the Asian tigers, you are wrong. The answer is Saudi Arabia, which clocked in at 8.7%. Kuwait and the United Arab Emirates registered heady growth as well. What explains the boom? Despite what many hope for, the world continues to depend heavily on fossil fuels. The Ukraine war and sanctions against Russia have reduced Moscow's importance in global oil and gas markets. In addition, two of the world's other major oil-producing countries, Iran and Venezuela, are also under sanctions and have old and decaying oil infrastructure. The United States produces lots of oil and gas but still imports large quantities. As a result, the world is now reliant on a handful of countries in the Persian Gulf for steady supplies of oil and gas. These conditions will likely continue over the next decade, and if they do, the Gulf will see one of the largest inflows of wealth in history. Already, the four main sovereign wealth funds of these countries have reportedly accumulated almost $3 trillion in assets, an increase of 42% over the past 2 years. Saudi Arabia expects that its main investment vehicle, the Public Investment Fund, will have more than $2 trillion by 2030, making it the world's largest. For the foreseeable future, these will be the most significant pools of capital on the planet. The economic consequences of this wealth are all around us. Saudi Arabia has, in effect, bought the professional golf business. In January, Bloomberg reported that the kingdom sought to buy the Formula One racing franchise for more than $20 billion. It lured perhaps the world's most famous soccer star, Cristiano Ronaldo, to play for one of its teams for a reported $200 million a year. It is making huge investments in the online gaming industry, hoping to become a major player in the space. Look at prestigious sports teams, luxury hotels in Europe and storied brands, and you might see behind them Gulf owners. As one Gulf minister told me, we've built lots of infrastructure in our countries. What's coming in now is cash to invest. This surge of wealth has reshaped the Middle East. The once dominant players in the region, Egypt, Iraq, Syria, are, for various reasons, poverty, division, dysfunction, unable to play leading roles. The Gulf is where the action is. Saudi Arabia, in particular, has made a huge strategic shift in its foreign policy. In his early years in power, the kingdom's de facto ruler, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, used his country's wealth in a crude and overbearing way. He tried in various ways to pressure or topple the regimes in Qatar, Lebanon and Jordan while waging a hot war in Yemen and a cold war with Iran, none of which bore fruit. The 2018 murder of Post-contributing columnist Jamal Khashoggi also occurred in this period. In the past few years, by contrast, he appears to have matured, mending ties with Qatar and Jordan, re-establishing diplomatic relations with Iran and seeking a peace deal in Yemen. The Gulf states are all deepening their relations with China, which is now the region's largest customer. In 2001, Saudi Arabia's trade with the Middle Kingdom was just over $4 billion, about 1/10 of its trade with the United States and European Union. In 2021, it was about $87 billion, more than the United States and EU combined. Economic ties are growing rapidly, and the Post even reports that China has resumed constructing a suspected military facility in the UAE. Saudi Arabia and the Gulf are not seeking a divorce with the United States. They want close economic ties with China and close security ties with America. They want to be able to deal freely with everyone, including Russia. If you want to see where Russians have gone to escape Western sanctions, visit Dubai, where you will hear more Russian than Arabic in some hotels. They have growing ties with India and are even building new links with Israel. Most countries would like to pursue a policy that allows them to freelance, choosing friends in the West and East, as suits their interests. If the Crown Prince continues down the path he is now on, Saudi Arabia will likely be able to manage this balancing act. The rise of the Persian Gulf is reshaping the world. If you were surprised by Saudi Arabia's de facto takeover of professional golf, get ready for many more such announcements in the months and years to come. The rise of the Persian Gulf, and Saudi Arabia in particular, is already reshaping the Middle East. But it will also have powerful consequences across the world. A quick quiz: what was the world's fastest growing large economy? The classified documents indictment is a stunning display of Trump's narcissism. The now unsealed indictment in the case of United States of America v. Donald J. Trump and Waltine Nada has it all, seemingly every Trump flaw condensed into 49 pages and 38 counts of squalid detail. It is a devastating legal document, but it is also a damning character study of a man whose faults are all too familiar yet retain the power to shock and appall. In the neutered language of lawyers and their numbered paragraphs, 96 in all, the indictment details the relentless selfishness of Trump's conduct. The former and would-be future president, in prosecutors' telling, lied to his own lawyers, pushed them to hide evidence on his behalf, then stood by as they submitted a blatantly false affidavit to federal authorities, all while proclaiming himself an open book. He stored the most classified of government secrets, about matters as sensitive as the vulnerabilities of the United States and its allies to military attack, on the stage of a Mar-a-Lago ballroom. He permitted secret, Five Eyes intelligence material to spill onto the floor of a storage room easily accessible from the pool patio. Responsible people view such documents in a SCIF, shielded from electronic eavesdropping and fortified against intruders. Trump kept them in a chandeliered bathroom. He hammered his 2016 opponent, Hillary Clinton, for mishandling classified information, then behaved in a far more egregious manner. The indictment doesn't mention Clinton by name, but prosecutors took pains to lay out numerous Trump campaign statements criticizing her, and hammering home the importance of safeguarding classified information. "We can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand the meaning of the word confidential or classified," Trump insisted as Election Day 2016 approached. "One of the first things we must do is to enforce all classification rules and to enforce all laws relating to the handling of classified information." So said the man who, according to the indictment, dramatically brandished classified documents for guests at his Bedminster, New Jersey, country club, guests notably lacking security clearances. "As president I could have declassified it. Now I can't, but this is still a secret," Trump told two people working on the memoir of his former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, discussing a memo that outlined the U.S. plan of attack on Iran. "It's on tape." The defendant indicted himself. Prosecutors used the term speaking indictment to describe a charging document that narrates a story of criminal conduct. "This indictment all but shouts,